guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. On this channel, we try to cover all things reality, TV news, gossip, trending topics. And today we're going to be going over more footage of the 8-passenger Ruby Franke Jodi Hildebrandt arrest that has been coming out over the past few days over on Law and Crime Network. Law and Crime Network, they are the ones, from my understanding, they're the ones that gain access to all of this footage, and they have just been putting out video after video after video after video. So what I've been trying to do is I have been trying to put it in somewhat of a chronological order, because if you're watching it over on their channel, it's so much, but it's not really in any type of order. One of their journalists, I think he's a journalist, he will show bits and pieces and talk about it, but it seems to be kind of out of order. So I was like, you know what? Let me get all of this and try to put it in somewhat of an order of how it really happened. So Monday, I think it was, I did a live stream where we started from the beginning, which was our Frankie, Ruby Franke's son, who escaped from Hildebrandt's home. We show where it started, him showing up at the first neighbor's house, not getting an answer, him ringing the doorbell, him moving on to the second neighbor's house. That's also captured on Ring camera. Him thinking that he is going to not get an answer there and walk away. Shocking. It's shocking seeing him walk up to these neighbors' houses because he's 12 years old. And while his face is blurred, and any videos that I show of the children, their faces will be blurred. I want to try to make sure that I cover this in the most respectful way to the children, by not showing their faces, not naming them. We will only refer to them as the first initial of their name. So he shows up, his face is blurred, but it looks like he's just wearing a long sleeve button up shirt and underwear almost. I mean, maybe it's shorts, but they appear to be, very loose. He had socks on, and then his legs just seem extremely skinny for his age, his size. Ruby and Jodi Hildebrandt were arrested in August of 2023 after our Frankie escaped Hildebrandt's home and showed up at the neighbor's house. Once he got an answer, the neighbor comes out. He asked the neighbor, "Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you take me to a local police station?" And the older man that answered the door at the home was like, "Well, what's happening? What's going on?" And as the man was on the phone with the police department, it became clear to him what was happening. He actually breaks down crying while on the phone with dispatch, telling them he's got duct tape around his wrist, his legs, and he says, "It's clear this boy has been detained. We need someone over here now." So we start there. We jump over to when emergency responders get to the house. They are even shocked at what they're looking at. It shows a clip of two of the responders almost breaking down. A female saying, "I think I'm going to cry." And one of the police officers saying, "I know, that's why I had to put my shades on." From there, he's put into an ambulance, and he tells them that his sister is still at the house. From that point, we see them show up at Jodi Hildebrandt's home. She knew, it seems like, that they were coming. I don't know how much in advance that she knew, but it seems like she knew because she was already on the phone with her attorney. So that video is already up on my channel, and it goes all the way until Hildebrandt, she is arrested. She's brought in to be questioned. She refuses to answer any questions, wants to wait for her lawyer, and then she is hauled off to jail. We're going to pick this video up with Ruby being arrested and her going to jail, her not answering questions. We'll do a little bit of a body language analysis, but there's not much really to go off of with Ruby because she was just showed no emotion, just stone cold face, nothing. But I will do a little bit, and then we're going to go over the police footage, the body cam footage of them going through Hildebrandt's home, where they find this secret room, which it was so weird to me. This room, it looked just like a gun cabinet. And I showed this to my husband as soon as I seen it. Well, I watched it play through, and then I brought it back to where you could just see the cops standing outside the what looked to be a gun cabinet. And I brought it to him. I said, "Look at this." And he goes, "Oh my goodness, I would love to have that gun cabinet. That looks really big." And I said, "That's not even a gun cabinet. I mean, I guess you could have stored weapons in there, but I'm like, that is literally a secret room with a bed." so crazy. It's kind of obvious what they were using it for, in my opinion. From there, we're going to listen to a phone call that one of the officers made to his superiors, where he is telling him the wounds that was on R. Um, so that's what we're going to go over today. Trigger warning, huge trigger warning. If you don't want to watch this one and you need to set it out, I completely understand. Real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to Angie S. Thank you for becoming a member of my YouTube channel. I appreciate you guys so much. Y'all have no idea how much I appreciate y'all. Anybody watching, like people that watch on replay, those that comment, and my members, you guys are the best. So trigger warning, we're going to go ahead and get this started. Also, I did mess with the audio a little bit just because on body camera footage, a lot of times it picks up so much background noise, wind, uh, everything. So what I try to do is I removed all audio that wasn't words. That way we don't hear wind, we don't hear the crackling from the radios or anything like that. So we're only going to be able to hear words. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's get started. Okay, now I do want to say too, on a phone call that Ruby Frankie made from jail, she told, I think, Kevin that she had left Ivings to go back to where they live to take one of the girls to a doctor's appointment, and that she left at like 3 o'clock in the morning, which did not make sense to me because both girls was with Pam, one of their friends, and she picked one up from, I think, the little girl had a job at like a hardware store. From what I went back and watched the video of them showing up at Pam's house as well, and she says she picked one girl up from like a rec center, I think they said, and then one up from like a hardware store. So I think one of the girls may, and I could be wrong here, but I think one may have been had a job at a hardware store, and one was at like a rec center. So she said Ruby called her, said, "Hey, I have an emergency. Can you go pick the girls up?" But then I thought she said that she was taking one of the girls to a doctor's appointment. Maybe it was Ruby had a dentist appointment. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to all that because I'm kind of confused on it. I'm like, wait, you said you left at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to a doctor's appointment for one of the girls, but the girls were not with you, and you came back with like no bra on, looking kind of disheveled, like you. I mean, I guess it's obvious that she just got up at 3 o'clock in the morning and just went how she looked. She's very skinny stat. So she may not even need a bra. I mean, I used to not. So, but anyways, I was very confused. Okay, yes. Okay, she said it. Julie had a dentist. Jay had a dentist appointment. She said Jay had a dentist appointment. So, but Jay was at Pam's house. So I'm confused. And then I also heard someone. I heard. I saw some comments or somebody from people saying like, "Oh, Jodi called her and she came back and she was actually looking for R. That Jodi discovered that R had left. And so she come back and she was like trying to look for R. So I don't know, you guys. As we cover more of this, I guess we'll know more, but I'm gonna have to figure out if she did say if it was her or one of the kids. Anyways, I can't recall, but she may have brought at least one of the girls with her from, well, both girls were at Pam's house with Pam, and Pam said she picked one up at a hardware store and one up from a rec center. Last I heard, he did not have the kids. That's still going through the court process. He is still trying to get custody of the kids. Last I heard. Also, last I heard, they weren't saying, but I did hear rumblings that maybe the oldest sister had them. So I don't know. When will we find out if they were served the full 60? So they're not facing 60 years, they're facing 30 because there's a cap. There's a cap in Utah. You can, for these particular charges, there's a cap at 30 years. Am I correct in saying that? I want to say I'm correct in saying that. Um, in 4 years, they will go up in front of the probations and parole board, and we will know more then. B said that the children are with specialist foster care. So maybe they are, yeah, maybe they're, I'm not sure. Yeah, as long as they are safe. So cap is 30 years. So the most they will do is 30 years. And I believe Hildebrandt will serve more than Ruby. And the reason I think that is because Ruby has expressed remorse I was wrong, but Jodi has not. She is still like, no, these kids, look what they did to me, you know. So let's go ahead, let's get started. If you do have any questions, I'll be trying to keep an eye on the chat. I'll try to write them down as they pop up. If you have a question you really want me to answer, you can use the super chat option. It's not, you don't have to, but I see it because in the comment section, it just shows up the same. But if you send super chat, it shows up a bright orange. So if you have a question that you really want me to see, you can use that option. If not, just keep posting your question in the chat and I'll see it whenever I can. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get started. So this is going to pick up with Ruby getting arrested. So she's right there. It's very dark, but she's right there on the right hand corner, sitting on the couch, just all like nothing's happening, just chilling on the couch, you know. Hold on, you guys. I had it muted. Hold on. Let me back it up a little bit.
You want to put in one of our vehicles?
Yeah, you want. Okay, just place your hands on your back for me. Perfect. And then right now, I can put a finger in each of these, okay? And I'm just going to double up.
Okay, so I do want to say really quickly, she did not speak to them. She would not speak to them. But you guys saw how she's like looking up and then she drops her head. She drops her head. It's almost in like, oh, I know, I'm done. I'm caught, you know. So that head drop is like exasperation of like, dang it, like here we go. She's getting handcuffed. So for a minute she's looking up and then she drops her head and then she looks back up. Like a lot of times whenever, you know, we're upset about something, something doesn't go our way, we'll do like a head drop, like, ugh, you know. So that's what that looked like to me.
Just so they don't tighten up on you on the way out there. Where's your car?
It's out there.
Yeah.
We're about to come in.
You don't have anything on you that I should know about, correct? Any weapons, anything that we're going to find. Before you put you in a police vehicle, we need to search your person to make sure you don't have anything on you. Is there anything you have on you? Okay, I'm going to search you before we put you in his car. That's just protocol, so I'm just going to have you step right over here and then just widen your legs, widen your stance. Yep, perfect. Are you wearing a bra? Okay, I'm just going to go like this through and make sure you don't have anything. You said you're not wearing a bra? Okay. Is that?
I will say the way she answered her when she's like, do you have anything on you? I gotta search you. She looked at herself, looks back up. She almost does like kind of like a, like, really, are you stupid? You see what I'm wearing? Like, what I'm wearing a skirt, doesn't have pockets. Like, well, what do you think? She looks at her smug, like, are you serious? Like, where am I going to be hiding something? But Ruby, these are police officers and detectives that they literally see people hiding stuff in their prison pocket. So, I mean, she's right to ask that. That's her job to ask that. But she was very arrogant and looked at her as almost she was stupid. Like,
Just like a tank top under here? Okay. Just gonna lift up your hair. Okay. All right, you're just gonna walk with Officer Hines.
We'll go out this way.
And then, hey, Hines.
You want me this way or that way? Okay.
And then if you want to go down the downstairs,
Yeah.
into the interview room downstairs.
Sounds good.
You
Thank
going
you.
down or I'm going down? You're going down. I'll go get some for you.
I appreciate it. I was gonna ask you to come turn my car off, but I'm leaving now, so we're good. It's still on.
there is something that kept like catching my attention with Ruby. Hold on. It's right here. Let me, and I mean, this doesn't matter, but I saw it and I just kind of want to bring y'all's attention to it to see if I'm like crazy. Right here on the side of Ruby's neck, as you can see her turn, it literally looks like something is like implanted in her skin. I kept trying to like, is that an earring dangling? Like, what is that? So I'm gonna slow-mo this really quickly. You guys keep an eye right here, or it's like right under her the frame of her face, like right here, right? I could not make out what it was. And it kept like, I'm like, what is that? Okay, that looks maybe it's her hair. Maybe it's her hair. No, I don't.
Yeah.
Y'all see that? Y'all see what I'm talking about? Like,
Oh, no, yeah. No.
Yeah.
it's very prominent at some points, and then
Hold on. Well, huh?
I'm gonna turn the audio off and bring it back a little bit and see if y'all can see it. What I'm talking about. You can see it. See it right here. You can kind of see it right now. You can y'all see it? It's right under the bone. See it? See it? See it? See it? What is that? What is that? Maybe it's a Band-Aid. Maybe it's a facial yeah, maybe it's some kind of Band-Aid. I don't know. That was really weird. Now that I'm looking at it, it does kind of look like a Band-Aid of some sort. Yeah, it could have been a bug bite. Yeah, that maybe she covered up. I was first looking at this on my phone and I'm like, what is that? I literally thought, I'm gonna tell you guys what I thought. Now that I'm looking at it like this, it does look like a Band-Aid, honestly. But what I thought was, you know how you can buy those things that you put right here and you pull them back and you stick them to the back of your neck and it gives you like a neck lift. Not gonna lie, I thought it was one of those at first. I'm like, is she wearing one of those neck lift things? That's crazy. Um, yeah, sure, there's no cayenne pepper mixture under that Band-Aid though. No, but it should have been. Somebody, oh, yeah, I'm not buying anything that she said either. Like, and when I say she showed remorse, I'm not saying I believe there's remorse. I'm just saying, as far as the judge, because the judge called Hildebrandt out. He's like, well, according to your phone calls, you still think you're not in the wrong here. And but Ruby, crying. Oh, and she's like, as soon as the cuffs went on, I was free and I knew, well, that's not the story that you sung in the first call to Kevin Franke. In the first call to Kevin Franke, you were literally like, I knew this was gonna happen. Every great man of God was persecuted. And I knew they were gonna come for me. The devil's been after me. So I really just think it's a ploy, in my opinion. I don't know if I'm buying it either. Let's continue.
Good score for you.
I appreciate it. I was gonna ask you to come turn my car off, but I'm leaving now, so we're good. It's still on. Yeah.
I'll come help you. Help.
Yeah. Hey, hold on. Well, huh?
Oh, I will.
If you want to ask,
Yeah, I got this.
just so we can tell them who we're taking down there. Ruby? Yeah. I'll go this way. Might be. Sorry, one. Yeah, Captain.
You're not going with Jessica. You taking her?
She told me transfer it down, and then she'll meet me there.
Okay, yeah. Take me in your car, then
Yeah.
I'll
Appreciate it. Ruby, what's your last name? Just so I could tell them I'm transferring. Fuck yeah. Control Traffic 13.
If
I'll
you,
be transferring Ruby to number 12. I'll give you my beginning here in a minute.
it didn't sound like she answered him when he said, "What's your last name?" So I can tell them who I'm transferring. It didn't sound like she answered him. And then he doesn't give a last name, so maybe by the look that she gave him and the way that she had previously been acting, he knew he wasn't going to get an answer, so he just called her Ruby. I don't know.
What?
I'll come back and grab it after they get back here.
Yeah, she reserved her right to remain silent and she took it to the extreme. Because, when they say like you have the right to remain silent, that doesn't mean don't tell us your name, which I mean I guess you can. All some, states are different with their laws. I love to watch Audit the Audit because um they go over people being pulled over and what the cops' rights are and or what the laws are. So if the cops are in the right when asking certain questions and what the citizens' rights are. Some places, if a cop stops you and you're not doing if you're like walking down the street and you look like you shouldn't be in that particular area, if a cop says, "Hey, let me see your ID," you don't have to give it to them. But in some states, you do, from my understanding. So, her giving her last name was not going to implicate her in any crime. You're already been implicated. Y- You're already implicated. You know what I'm saying? So, Kayla, you sent it the other day. I did get it. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I did get it. Thank you. You did not have to do that, but I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
You guys got it? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, brown hammer. I thought it was pink. All right. Thanks, sir. Bye. Okay. Come on out, please. Ooh, that way. Close that door. What's that?
What she wanted her?
Downstairs in the interview room. So I could have gone that way, but appreciate you open the door. We'll take these chairs right here. You all right? We'll jump himself. That's the next one right here. Right here. And we'll go ahead and I'll remove those cuffs right here. Go up to now and remove them. This way, yeah.
Okay, right here, she won't even look. Like she's trying her best.
Okay, go ahead and have a seat.
She's trying her best, like as he's taking the cuffs off, to not even look at him. She's being like super dismissive, like, go ahead and do what you gotta get them off of me. It's so telling the way she's treating these people. Like, I do have no doubt that she really did believe these cops were evil. So whatever doctrine or whatever Hildebrandt was telling her to make her believe this, I think she really thought that. However, Hildebrandt did not think that. That's why when Hildebrandt sat down with the officers, she's like, "You guys seem like nice people, but my attorney told me not to speak to you. So, not to answer any questions. So I'm not going to do that." If Hildebrandt believed in what she preached, that these cops were evil, then she would have been treating them the same way Ruby would have. Like, I mean, if somebody comes and gets me and I've done something wrong or I haven't, but I believe they're really evil people, like evil people of the world, the not demonic people that want me in jail and my children dead. I'm not going to be pleasant with them. And I'm not going to say, "You guys seem like honest people, great people, good people, whatever." I'm probably going to be a little smug with them. Their belief is more like the Vallow case more and more. I actually saw a psychologist kind of comparing, I didn't get to watch it, I just saw the video pop up, comparing Vallow and Frankie. Haley Brand, Jodi still thinks she's above everyone else. Yeah. She looks at herself as an authoritative figure. She sits down. She immediately sits down, crosses her arms, crosses her legs. And crossing your arms can be for various reasons. So context matters whenever you're doing a body language analysis because you gotta kind of think of what the person the atmosphere that they're in right then, right? So she sits down, leans back, arms crossed, crosses her legs. So she's closing herself off in a defiant manner, you know. Now, if you are sitting down at your friend's party and you sit down and you cross your arms, it might be because it's comfortable. You're not sitting down to be defiant. So you have to take those things into consideration when you are going over someone's body language. But the way that she sat down and it was very defiant.
I'll be glad. Okay, she'll be here shortly, okay?
Is this your water? I'm gonna.
It's yours if you want it. We'll say that. How's
We also have snacks if you need anything to eat. So I know I introduced myself to you earlier, but my name is Detective Bates, and this is Sergeant Tobler. We're just here to talk to you about kind of a few things involving your kids. So first,
Okay, so no signs of emotion really. Her shoulders are up a little bit, right? They're kind of up. She seems closed off. That's what they call turtling when you're kind of turtling yourself. She has her hands down off the table, underneath the table, kind of hiding them, so to speak. I don't know why, but in a lot of things that I've read when it comes to body language, if you are open and you are going to be engaged, answer questions or whatever, you'll kind of have your arms up. You know, you'll talk like this, but she's very like they talk about showing your wrist, that if you show your wrist, like, um, you wanna be open and honest. I'll have to look more into that, because I don't remember exactly what it said about the wrist, but for some reason, the wrist is like, if you are talking when you'll show your wrist, I don't know if it's like a sign that you wanna be honest, but it's very clear she's not happy. Yeah, she's kinda closed off, her shoulders are up just a hair, and her arms are underneath the table. Um Also, her not wanting to talk or volunteer information, um, she's not wanting to talk or volunteer any details about this case. That's very quintessential of a liar or someone with something to hide. And we know that she had something to hide because of, what we know now. I mean, heck, a lot of people knew way back when the channel was still up that her parenting techniques were, some would say borderline, some would say straight up abusive.
are you?
I'm glad somebody said that her eyes look cold and dark. Yeah, it was like she was like a shell of a person. I don't know. I don't even want to say this because last time I said I'm curious about something, I had a few comments like it's not our business. And I'm like, yeah, I know some things are not my business, but it doesn't mean I'm not curious about it. But I'm curious. Yes, her eyes are reflecting of her heart. And when you see Chris White, Scott Peterson, people that I've seen like pictures of people that torture, abuse, kill. It always seems like they have like dark eyes, like their eyes are just black and there's nothing in them. Almost, there's no emotion in them. I don't know. It's like once you do something like that, your soul is just completely changed. I don't know.
Do you live down here or do you live up north? Do you want to talk to me about where you live or how many kids you have?
So when she said, "Do you want to talk to me about where you live?" Ruby did kind of like a slow blink, like, no, clearly I don't want to talk to you about nothing. At times you can see her chest moving up a little bit, so you can tell she is breathing heavily. Sometimes she'll take a breath through her nose where you'll see her nostrils flare. So she is nervous. No doubt about it. She is nervous, but she's trying to keep herself calm.
So we just spoke with your husband, and he said you guys have 6 kids. Are those all together? Are those all your kids? I can wait all day. So it's up to you if you want to talk to us about what's going on. Would you feel more comfortable talking to one of us?
Or do you want me to step out if you want?
Or if you feel more comfortable talking to him, I can step out.
I'll wait by the lawyer.
Okay. So you don't want to talk to us at all?
You can see her chest moving. She's nervous.
Do you want to answer that? Or you don't want to talk to us about anything?
She did like a little head. I think the lady said you want to answer that. She did like a, but I'm wondering if she thought she said you don't want to answer that because she did a little.
Do you want to answer that? Or you don't want to talk to us about anything?
So yeah, this is just your chance to tell us. We're just trying to get your side of the story. So it's your chance to do that. But it's up to you. We're just gonna talk. And I mean, I'm not asking any criminal questions. If you don't want to talk to us, just let us know and we'll be done.
I've already told you.
You want a lawyer? Okay.
So she says that a matter of it. I did hear that, and that's why. Have you seen the video where Jodi's niece is talking about her experience with Jodi? Because she says Jodi would test her with people, and she was supposed to stare forward and not say a word. And that's why. When I was like, whenever they were talking to E in the closet, I said, I wonder if E thought this was a trick. Did Jodi and Ruby set this up to see if E would tell on them? And I think that's why it took her 4 hours. Seems like she's on Valium or something too. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say, you know. But yeah, she's like, I already told you, I want to talk to my lawyer. Very matter of fact, very rude. But then when he says something back to her, and she goes, almost in a more of a nice way, like she tones it down a little bit, like,
I've already told you.
You want a lawyer? Okay. Easy enough.
Thank you.
Is there anything else I can get you for you in the meantime? I got the water. Do you need a bathroom break or anything else?
irritation, like, is there anything I can get for you? Do you need to do bathroom? Slow blink. You know, when we do those slow blinks, usually it's because we're either tired or because we're irritated at the questions we're being asked. Like, a lot of times we'll roll our eyes afterwards, you know. She didn't do that, but she did do the slow blinks. All right, so they go out and then they come back in a little bit to cuff her back and take her to jail.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, Colby, I do have a video up from when this first happened, and it gives a whole rundown of the 8 Passengers channel, the things that Ruby did to the kids, which led to petitions being started, calling for the kids to be removed, calling for YouTube to take their channel down. So I do have a video up. I think it's got like over 100,000 views on it. I'll try to find it and link it. It's very informative for somebody that is new to this. All right, so here she is. Y'all, I just noticed this. Ruby wait, no, she didn't. I was supposed to say she changed positions, but she didn't. Never mind. She is where they left her. Never mind.
All right, step up, please. Thank you. Go and face that officer. Put your hand on the top of your head, please. Interlace your fingers. Thank you. And on top of your head. Look to your left. Thank you. I just don't.
So a lot of times when we're nervous, our brain gets overloaded. It can't think straight, right? So if y'all notice when they said look left, it took her a minute, like left, and she kind of shook her head a couple of different ways.
Officer, put your hand on the top of your head, please. Interlace your fingers. Thank you. Hand on top of your head. Look to your left. Thank you. Just go back. You're in the head. See what they got. Okay. Go down. Mike, you ready? The ones that locked from the outside. Oh, there you go. That's what we got going. I know you got searched already. I know by face, you don't have anything in your pockets at all, right? You have just these ones only. Let's go. Left. Up the stairs.
That is true. That is true. I do know, yes, the LDS word of wisdom will won't allow a lot of things. They recently loosened up on caffeine as long as it's not coffee. I do know that's true because I have family members that are Mormon, and we let our kids drink Coke from time to time, and they were very like, "You, we don't let our kids have Coke," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's awesome for you, you know." It's not an everyday thing. It's not even an every other. I mean, you know, they normally drink water, energy drinks, Kool-Aid, stuff like that. But every once in a while, yeah, Coke. You know, Reddit by chance. What do you mean? Do I post on Reddit? Sometimes I comment in different threads.
Front door that way.
It's just hang on one second right here in the lobby, okay?
Okay. That's what it is.
That's a good question. I don't know exactly if they were exactly LD. Are they LDS? Are they like a different branch of Mormons? I'm not sure. Same. I gotta have my Red Bull. I think. Let me see. Yes, I do post from time to time, Morgan, and like the Teen Mom, Mama June, stuff like that. Yes, they are LDS. Yes.
Face, you want to let you know what criminal charges for, so you're under arrest. It's going to be 2 counts, second-degree felony of child abuse or neglect. Okay? Do you understand that or no? Are you okay? I'm wondering if there's like a medical clearance that needs to, like, do you need medical attention before you go to the jail? Okay. All right. Well, we'll have you. As soon as she gets down here, we'll bring you out. Okay.
Okay, so
Have you ever been arrested before?
she won't even look at him here. She won't even look at him.
I'm just concerned about you. I know you don't believe that.
I'm on alive.
So I've had an opportunity to talk to your husband and
Sit right
kind
there.
of worried about your circumstances and obviously your children as well. But you're sure you don't need medical attention or anything like that?
Sorry, guys. My kids just got home from school, and although I text Sean and said, "Hey, make sure the kids know I'm on a live," because usually when they get off the bus, they do come running in here. So I'm like, "Hey, make sure the kids know I'm on a live." He's not doing that. I don't know where he's at, what he's doing. So they're all trying to come in my office, and I'm like, "I'm on a live," so I do apologize. So she's just ignoring this officer as much as possible. like, oh, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care that you're speaking to me. Before finally being like, yeah. And she's not even, yeah, it's like a head nod or something like that. So she's very dismissive of the officers. What's going on with LDS? Lori Vallow, Jodi?
Soda. It's 2 years.
Why did you start today?
I don't know. It's all good. I don't feel too good right now drinking that soda.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll see what happens later.
So the officers over there, they're laughing. He's talking about working out and stuff. And let me tell you guys, when I was falsely arrested back in 2019, it was dropped. I sued. I won. Okay. If you don't know about it, I've talked about it before. It's a pretty long video, but I did talk about it. Falsely arrested. Either way, when I was sitting in there, when I was being booked, there were 2 officers to the side, maybe more. That it was just joking around, and I remember thinking, "How is anybody in a laughing mood?" But it's because my life was I was so like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is happening." It was such a serious moment for me to hear people laughing and joking around. I'm like, "Oh my god, why is anybody laughing right now?" Even the cops, it didn't make sense to me that they're laughing and joking, and this is normal for them. So that irked me. Now I didn't look at them crazy. I wasn't like, but I was just like, "Is everybody seeing them just like cutting up, acting like everything's normal?" But it is normal for them because they deal with arrest. They book people and take them to jail and deal with arrest on a daily. So that's they're just on the job. So they're cutting up or whatever. But I noticed that whenever he started laughing, she looked at him. Probably I didn't look like, I was just like more kind of confused, but she probably looked like, are you really over there laughing? But I noticed she did a quick look at him whenever he started cutting up laughing.
Okay, I will say it works out because I worked out for 2 hours today. So I read about 3 students.
Yes, we did.
I'm sweating it off.
It's so hot downstairs.
Oh, really?
On the AC, we're gonna finally. So I turned it down.
Oh, down there.
Mm-hmm. It was 78.
Her house, like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you want me to capture the burger?
Yeah, we probably need to do another, are we
Search.
consent, yeah, get that down there, get on the camera.
Well, it's not worried about or anything, but you just want to make sure you don't have anything in your pockets. And you're not wearing anything else under this, correct?
No, ma'am.
Spandex? Nothing? You don't remember what you're in? Okay. I just want to make sure that you don't have anything. Just want you to stand a little bit for me. Yep. Thank you. Okay. So I just spoke, you can turn to face me. So I just spoke with Jodi, but you both are under arrest right now for child abuse. And you'll have 2 counts of that, one for Eve and one for Russell. Okay. So the malnourishment, you guys were in direct custody of those kids. Okay. Do you have any questions for me at this time? No questions? Okay. You can hop in.
You got it.
Okay, sorry, you guys. Sean is going to be in so much trouble when I get off this live. He is in the doghouse. Every one of my kids came in here, which it's fine. They do normally come in here whenever they get home from school because a lot of times I'm not on live. But I text him. I said, I will be live. Catch the kids off the bus. One kid came in twice, brought the mail. Another one tried to come in twice, and another one just opened the door. And then he finally comes outside and yells, "Y'all get inside." I'm like, I'm working, dude. I'm working. Do your job, please. Okay, so let's back this up a little bit because this is this weird. I know I just stuck this thing outside on my door. I do have a thing that I put on the door saying that recording is in progress, but I forget to get it. So I'll leave it out there, and the kids kind of got used to it being out there. So they would they knew that it would be out there even when I wasn't live, so they kind of started coming in regardless. But so I stopped using it, but now I just put it back out there and I lock the door. So yes, I mean my kids always come in here after school and we talk about it, and I'll go in there sometimes if I'm not live. But if I'm live, catch the kids, please. Okay, so thank y'all. Thank y'all so for being so understanding. Okay, so this was the thing that was confusing after the arrest. This vault shelter thing, because I remember who was the creator saying that they found like a secret vault. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Who was the creator saying that they found a secret vault? Um, it's a creator that I like. It's a guy. And other people were like, "No, they didn't. No, they didn't. That's not accurate. That's false news. That's fake news. Whatever." But no, they did. They really did find this vault. Um, so here they are. This I thought this was a commercial building at first. Whenever it first played on Law and Crime's video, and I see these officers down there. No, there's no audio to this. The police redacted the audio themselves. There's nothing. So we're not going to hear anything until this video flips over to another part of the room. It's a safe room. Thank you. It's a safe room. Dad Challenge podcast. I think maybe he said it. They were calling it a panic room. Different things. Yes. But it was kind of like a secret room because it seemed to be just a gun safe almost. But that is not what it was. So, anyways, when I first saw this, I thought it was some sort of like commercial building, and I'm like, well, what is this? What's this got to do with anything? And then I realized, hold up, that is Hildebrandt's home. That is Hildebrandt's home. That's crazy. And then there's this door there that looks like a gun cabinet, and then you open it up, and there's this panic room. All right, so there's no audio. We'll kind of talk about it as we watch it. Sorry, guys. There wasn't like anything in the refrigerator, in the cabinets, which I guess when you got a house that big and you got cabinets everywhere, they're not all going to be filled up. But then one of the officers, when they go to open the bottom part of the refrigerator, he looks like he's unsure. Like, what am I about to open and see in there? Like they didn't know if they were going to open. Look, he's like, okay, good. Okay, nothing. It was almost like he was a little scared. Yeah, I know Mormons, they do like to stockpile for at least a year. Like I said, I have family members and they do the same thing, and they encourage us to do it too. And we do try to do a little bit. Or maybe he didn't know which way to open it. Yeah. Because they were pulling on both ways. So I didn't hear that part where she said she set the code 6 years ago and didn't remember it. So that rope's been in there for 6 years? I don't think so. Well, maybe. It seems like they're talking about what could be behind that wall. They knock on the wall to see if it's like hollow on the other side. Look, see? It's like they're wondering, okay, could something be back there? Could something be in the walls? Yeah, the bed was up at first. They pulled that down. Yeah, she knew that code all right. Yeah, they could have been talking about all kind of things in there. Surely they were talking about the possibility of them keeping the kids in there, so maybe that's why they muted it. Yeah, she was surprised they pulled her out. She thought they weren't going to be able to step in that house, so she would be good. Okay, so here's obviously evidence of, the handcuffs with the police rope. It's about to switch to audio, so you're going to hear some talking in just a second. I don't think that rope has been in there for 6 years, so I think they were using the room for the kids. I'm actually surprised she didn't run down there and put E in the room, hoping to hide her out. Right there, they're just kind of logging the evidence that they're finding. I wonder how long they would spend in that room. I mean,
Now, as prosecutors have released a trove of evidence,
there's a toilet in case they need to use the bathroom. They literally could have kept them in that room, hands bound, feet bound. I mean, I don't want to speculate, but I feel like they probably did leave them in there for hours on end.
we're getting more of a glimpse into what else officers found inside Hildebrandt's home. Investigators took hundreds of photos inside the home. Some photos show a fully stocked pantry and cabinet of food, including canned food, cereals, and peanut butter, despite both RF and EF being found severely emaciated at the time. Investigators also discovered rope throughout the 10,000 square foot house, including in the bedrooms and bathrooms. Next to the rope in the bathroom was a reported mixture of honey and cayenne pepper used in the most gruesome way possible. The mixture was put on RF's wounds, then wrapped in plastic and duct tape. Located near a stack of journals was rolls of duct tape, which was used to bound the children's hands and feet, as well as saran wrap. In the bathroom, officers also found surgical sponges, medical tape, and bandages. In one of the many bedrooms in the home was a small trampoline reportedly used as a form of punishment. The punishment reportedly involved making the children jump on the small trampoline for hours outside in the blistering Utah summer. In the basement, investigators found storage bins, several stacked boxes, and different sets of weights, which was also used as a form of punishment, as the children were bound to the rope, which was
Let me say something. Those are 15-pound dumbbells, and I use 15 pounds to do like my workouts. When I do squats, I'll just hold one in squat. I'm like 140 pounds, and after I do a few of them, I'm kind of like, eh. Those kids were 10 and 12 and probably weighed 60 pounds soaking wet or something. I mean, they were scrawny. Huge trigger warning. And I questioned with whether or not I would show these photos. I talked to my moderators about this, about it. They don't show their face. But I think it is important to show the actual extent of the abuse, which is why I decided there will be some photos that I would show. There will be photos coming up when emergency responders got to where R was at the neighbor's house. They took photos of his hands and his feet bound or duct taped and everything. So that's going to come up in a minute. And also a photo of either E or R. I probably think it's R. No shirt on his back, to see how emaciated he actually was. And I really questioned with whether or not even showing the photos, because a part of me was like, how are they going to feel with these photos floating around out there? I mean, I know plenty of other people are showing them, but do I add to that if this is something that is going to bother them, upset them? So, like I said, I talked to Sean about it. I talked to my moderators about it. And one of my moderators made a really good point in saying the only way that people can really see the actual, how bad it really was is to see some of the photos. So I do agree. But these kids were scrawny because of the abuse and not being fed and forced to do these extreme workouts. That 15-pound dumbbell, them using that for 2 minutes probably had them just exhausted.
was then tied to the weights. Nearby was an apparent safe room, and inside the room was a single bed and mattress, a mini kitchen, and more rope inside one of the drawers.
Okay, so I want to read this really quickly. Let me back it up a bit. And before that, one thing about Ruby Franke is she never asked about the children when she was brought in. She never said, "Well, how are the children? Did y'all find R? Are they going to be okay? Are you going to let my husband get them? I'm going to jail, so what's going to become of them?" She never asked one question about where those kids were about to go. She didn't care. She didn't care where they went. She only cared where she was about to go and where Jodi was going. Okay, so the investigation found that religious extremists motivated Ms. Franke and Ms. Hildebrandt to inflict this horrific abuse. The women appeared to fully believe that the abuse that they inflicted was necessary to teach the children how to properly repent for imagined sins and to cast the evil spirits out of their bodies. They were beaten, and the 12-year-old was bound hand and foot after a previous attempt at running away. Additionally, the children suffered emotional abuse to the extent that they came to believe that they deserved the abuse. No. The children were also forced to do manual labor outdoors in the extreme summer heat without shoes and socks. They were similarly forced to stand outside on a cement patio in the summer heat for hours and even days. Kate says, I wonder if they were treated this way when they were young. I don't think so at all. Ruby Franke had a really good relationship with her family up until this started happening. When Ruby Franke joined forces with Jodi Hildebrandt, her family was like, this is not right. Like, what you're doing, this is, no. We don't believe in this. And so she became estranged from them, saying that her family misunderstood her. If her family treated her this way, I don't think they would have been against her treating her kids this way. So I definitely don't think Ruby was brought up this way. And people that are brought up this way, forced to go through this much abuse, they're not going to grow up to be like as, I guess, normal as Ruby appeared to be. When I say normal, I mean there were things that she did that didn't make sense, but you're not going to want the spotlight. I feel like you're going to be a little sheltered. You're not going to trust people the way that she did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think at all that either one of these women were brought up this way. That's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. They were also prohibited from interacting with others and were hidden in the home when others came to visit. They were forced to do physical tasks like carrying loaded boxes up and down the stairs and sitting against a wall without a chair or stool for hours at a time. I do this workout. I do the wall sits, you guys, and I can only do it for a few minutes before my legs are shaking. And the fact that they made them do it for hours is beyond something I can even comprehend, among the million other things they made them do. So the ensuing investigation revealed that Miss Franke and Miss Hildebrandt held Frankie's 12-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter in a work camp-like setting. The children were regularly denied food, water, beds to sleep in, and virtually all forms of entertainment. Yeah, Jodi's been doing this for a long time. All right, so trigger warning. We're about to look at photos of R found with duct tape and more. So if you need to get off, this is going to last for a few seconds. You can turn your phone away, continue listening to my voice, and I'll let you know when the pictures are over. But look away. Right, so 1 month after former YouTube influencer Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt were sentenced to prison for CA charges, evidence released depicts the severity of the abuse. Santa Clara Evans Police Department via Scripps News, Salt Lake City. So this is R at the neighbor's home when police get there. These are the photos of his legs and his arms. And what I want to tell you guys is under this, in a minute, we're going to listen to a phone call made by one of the officers there to his superior where he talks about them removing this. He talks about them having to remove the duct tape and the saran wrap and how severe the wounds were. And what we know is he had cayenne pepper, and it was a mixture of cayenne pepper and honey in his wounds. They would literally mix cayenne pepper and honey, stir it together, put it in the wounds, and saran wrap and duct tape. So that's what's under the duct tape and the saran wrap is cayenne pepper in their wounds. Okay, so picture on the left is E, picture on the right is R. Oh, this doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to do somebody like this. All right, so an officer details R's injuries after helping remove the duct tape from R's hands and legs.
An officer later describes RF's wounds, saying he could smell the flesh.
First observed the kid. He was sitting on the chair, had the duct tape and.
Okay, guys, sorry. The pictures are done if you want to come back. If you have to turn your phone, pictures are done. You can come back.
Plastic around his ankles. And then he had a long sleeve shirt on. And then we pulled his sleeves up and he had duct tape and clear plastic underneath the sleeves on both wrists. And then medical got there. They started cutting the stuff off him. And then you can see like the dark around his ankles, and it you could smell it, the flesh. So underneath the tape, as soon as they took it off, you can, even outside, you could smell the flesh. And then the transport, or put him in the ambulance. I went in there. They started cutting more off of it, and you can see the wounds on the back of his ankles, around the front of his ankles, and then on his wrists as well. And the wounds around his ankles were dark and like, I don't know, like wet looking, I guess, from the moisture underneath it. Yeah, he said he was tied on the ground with a rope. That's where the wounds came from. Yeah, with ropes on all 4 of his extremities. And that's where the wounds came from. And then they put cayenne pepper mixed with honey, he said, on the wounds, and then covered that with the plastic saran wrap and then the duct tape over the wounds. Yeah. And then that's what we cut off was that. Yeah, they dressed the wounds. Some of the wounds, when I was in there, when they went to go peel it, they thought it was some of the dressing. It was actually his skin that was.
Okay, so that part cut off, and I couldn't find the rest of it. But I'd seen it previously in what he was saying, and it does end shortly after that. What he was saying is when they were trying to remove the dressing, they thought they were peeling off saran wrap, but some of it was actually his skin coming off. His skin had, you know when you get a cut, right? And it's like hanging on, especially if they have like a solution under there that's keeping it wet. It's going to kind of start dying. It's going to become a little thinner. So it may not look like flesh necessarily, but they're literally pulling the duct tape and the saran wrap. And some of it was actually his flesh. That's, they started pulling off thinking that it was the saran wrap. That is, these kids, I don't know if they will ever be able to overcome this. Like, how do you put your children through this? If you didn't want them, if you thought they were that evil, put them up for adoption. I don't know. Call Kevin. Which I don't think Kevin was innocent either. But call the older two. See if they want them. Say, you know what, they're too evil for me. Whatever. The flesh was literally rotting away. Exactly. Officers are really affected by crimes against children. Yes, some of them were saying, I think I'm going to cry. This is why I have to wear my shades because, yeah, I think I'm going to cry too. So I can't, the officers, the neighbors, this is just a sad case all the way around. And in my opinion, they deserve life in prison. I don't think they should even get out. I think when you do something like this to a child, especially to this extreme, you should not get out. You sit there and you rot away. Somebody said, how do you do this to kids? Do you think you're never going to get caught? That's a good question. And I've asked myself that question times before too, because where I live, there was this man, he was a stay-at-home dad, and his wife was a nurse. They had twins. He had asthma really, really, really bad. So he didn't work. He stayed at home, tended to the kids. And when the twins were about 8, 9 years old, they went and stayed at a friend's house. And the mom worked day shift, I think. So she left before the kids got up for school because she worked in the city, which was like an hour and a half away. So she would get up before the kids got up for school. The hubby would get them up for school, get them off to school, get them off the bus, help them do their homework, get them ready for bed. And by the time she got home, like it was like an hour or so before bedtime, right? So she really didn't have a lot of time with the kids. But she made a decent amount of money. They lived a pretty decent life. But when the girls were about 8 years old, they went to spend a weekend with one of the friends. And one of the girls told her friend that her dad basically was R-ing her. And the friend went and told her mom. And so the mom called the twins' mom and was like, can you come over? We need to talk. So the woman comes over and she's like, listen, one of the twins told me this. And so they called the twins in, they set them down, and both twins admitted, yes, he does this, and he has been doing this to them for as long as they can remember. And they took him to the doctor, got him checked out, called the cops, and he was arrested. He's in prison for this. But I'm like, they were 8. And they remember that you've been doing this to them for as long as they can remember. What did you think was going to happen? Were you ever going to stop? Did you ever have any fear? Well, I can't keep doing this to them. Because at one point, they're going to know that it's not right. Like, how do you do that? How do you do that? You know? Oh, I've listened to the second interrogation as well. I have. I've listened to the second interrogation, how he talks about, going the first time he went to one of the conferences, he was like, this is just a bunch of men hating people here. But the people putting the conferences on were people that he respected and he really thought a lot of. So he stuck it out. And then that night, him and Ruby had a conversation, a heart to heart, where she told him how it affected her when he, her husband, asked for sex. And if he asked her to wear lingerie, how it really affected her. And I'm like, that's normal behavior for me. That's normal behavior for a hubby to be like, hey, we're gonna get it on tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, if y'all don't discuss it, I don't know, especially if you have kids and they had six, me and my hubby have six, you have to plan that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't, I don't know, like, because if you don't plan it, by the time you both get to bed, you're tired and it's not gonna be no, it's not spontaneous. No, you have to plan it. So the communication has to be there, like, hey, tonight, you know. Um, but for him to say, hey, tonight, you want to put on a little lingerie? Look, that bothered her, and she broke down crying when she told him how it affected her, and from that point on, she's using something that is absolutely normal to paint him out as a bad guy that's doing something wrong to her. She's a victim, um, of his behavior, which is absolutely normal behavior, in my opinion. So he talks about how Ruby moved in with them, and as soon as how Jodi moved in with them, and as soon as Jodi moved in with them, weird things started happening, like the lights going on and off, and them hearing noises and banging and clanging upstairs when nobody was up there, and things floating. And he's like, I saw these things, and I'm like, were they drugging you? Were they drugging you that you thought you saw things floating? So Ruby and Kevin had 6 children. 2 of them were over the age of 18, 18 or older, out of the house. So she had 4 children still in the home. R escaped. They went back and found E in the home, and 2 of the girls was at Ruby and Jodi's friend's house, Pam. But anyways, you guys, so next we are going to we're gonna go over the jailhouse calls next. From the first 2 calls, or the first couple of calls, where Ruby is like, oh, poor Jodi. She sticks her neck out to help people, and look what they do to her. And I knew this was gonna happen. All the great believers, followers, Christians were persecuted. I knew this was gonna. And then she changes her tune to, oh, I was lied to. We're gonna listen to Hildebrandt saying she's trying to talk in code. So we're gonna listen to the jailhouse calls next, and then after that, we'll probably do the journals. The journals are huge because I think the journals are what really pushed Ruby to take a plea deal, because those journals would have been it for her. I do plan on covering Mackenzie and the Ryan situation that happened. I think it happened yesterday. So yeah, I'm going to cover that too. Yeah, and I believe in evil. I believe there's evil out there in the world. Hello, Ruby, Jodi. They are the evil that people have to fight against. When you claim to be fighting something that you actually end up becoming, like, holy crap. Oh, well, a Satanist told me he planned to hide in the LDS if his grips are on him. Ruby's daughter Sherry, Ruby's daughter Sherry tried to get help long before Jodi came in. Yes. More Mac and Ryan drama. Mac and Amanda, Ryan's girlfriend. More drama with them. A journal is a true look into the mind of a nutcase. These journals are a true look into the mind of a nutcase. Absolutely. I hope they never get out of prison for child abuse and making our kids starve to death. I hope the kids will get the help. They need these kids Yeah, these kids are definitely, yeah. I mean, they're never going to get over this, but Jodi and Ruby, they will get out of prison eventually. I mean, 30 years max, 30 years max. I mean, well, how old are they? So I guess it's possible if they could potentially, if they don't, if they pass away at 65 or I don't know. Either way, in 4 years, I think will be the first 4 years they will go up in front of the probation and parole board and we'll know more about how long they're going to serve. 4 years, they could potentially get out. Anyways, like, share, subscribe. We're going to continue to go over all this footage. Like I said, next we will listen to the jailhouse calls and then we're going to go over the journals. So join me back here in the coming days to go over that. Also, we're going to be covering more reality TV content today. Mackenzie and Amanda, they're kind of going head to head. Mackenzie's calling Amanda out for not taking care of her child. And then we have Pumpkin, Mama June's daughter, kind of upset that so many people's coming to her asking her, where's the money that Alana made when she lived with you? You got custody of Alana when she was 16. Y'all been doing the show, so where's that money? She answers those questions and explains more about where that money is. Do they have money put aside for her? Do they put money aside for her? I will say I've now heard a couple of different excuses. So at first it was, I have $160,000 in an account for Alana. But she wants to leave that money in there until she goes to buy a house. And then I saw where on another live stream, she said that, oh, well, that meant somebody would have to fly to California to close the account out to get the money out. And they hadn't had time to do that. And I'm like, you just went to Disney. Like in the past, 2 months, y'all have traveled. And I don't even think you would have to really fly there to do a transfer. And Alana's 18. She don't even need you to go with her. So she can just go do it. She's been on spring break. So now I'm kind of questioning, is Pumpkin telling the truth? I don't know. But we're going to go over her video as well. So join me back here for that. Like, share, subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.